It's week 3 of high school football in Ohio. Some teams are starting to find their identity, some opening up conference schedules, while others are wrapping up out-of-conference schedules. Whatever the case might be for your team, we have it all covered tonight on
Gridiron Glory!
Friday, another night of football. Welcome back into Studio A, everyone. I'm your host, Joseph Payton. Now, you're home from the game, so now you can just sit back, relax, and let us tell you what went down in all of our coverage area. And now, kicking off our show, the Fort Frye Waterford game, one of the great rivalries amongst our teams in our coverage. And we had TVC Hawking reporter Jerry Curvin there to see who would bring home the W. And Joey P., Fort Frye, they've dominated this for 9 years. You predicted that, the Cats might knock them off this year, Jerry.
I did. I actually thought that a decade was too long for Waterford and they would actually beat these guys. But we'll see if I was right tonight.
Let's see.
And here we go. Late in the first quarter, Waterford leads 6-0, and Peyton Stevens lays it right over the shoulder for his man, Cody Harris. Sorry, DBs, there's no stopping chemistry. Next drive, 10 seconds left in the quarter. Tyler Bradford can't handle the rock, coughing it up, and Joseph Zimmer will say, let me hold that right quick. Waterford, however, was just borrowing the ball and gives it right back to Fort Frye. Bradford would take care of the ball this drive and bring it home, inching the Cadets closer to the lead. Next cadet drive, Bradford takes it up the gut to the promised land again. Wait, didn't we just see this play? No, America, he's just that good. I'm telling you, JP, this kid tonight at Fort Frye, he was a monster. They couldn't stop him. Now it's Waterford's time to respond. Peyton Stevens drops back, launches it deep, and whoop, there it is. Brandon the Beast Belleville comes up with it for his second TD of the game. It's not over till it's over, though. Taylor Ingle hits his man, Tyler Herninger, and makes the man miss and waltzes in the end zone. Waterford was up 19-16 at the half, but they would ultimately lose the lead, falling 23-19. Telling you, JP, I was heartbroken to see Waterford lose, not because I'm a Waterford fan, I just hate to be wrong.
Hey, it is what it is. Sometimes we're wrong. You hate to see that, though, But, Waterford, they were winning this game. As we just saw in the highlights, the streak, it looked broken. So what did you see in the second half that happened?
Joey P., you know very well that the game of football is about momentum. And what ultimately leads comebacks is momentum. What drives teams to the promised land? Momentum. Tonight, Waterford lost the momentum. The Cadets came out after halftime and brought the fight to the Wildcats. They were able to stop the beast that is Brandon Belleville and put the clamps on Waterford's offense. Football is played in halves, and it takes great execution of 2 halves to beat a team like Fort Frye. No, it does hurt to lose to your rival a 10th consecutive time. I mean, the last time they beat them was 2007. 2007 was the year the cotton gin was invented. It was the year fire was discovered. The winner for Best Picture in 2007, gone with the win. I kid. But it's time to stop focusing on the bad. Earlier this week, I said Waterford would win the TVC Hawking. And on live television today, I stand by my declaration.
So, they lost tonight, but what makes you so confident?
2 words, my hosting friend. Brandon Belleville. Even in defeat, this man blew my mind. He ended the game with 133 yards and 2 touchdowns. The boy is fast. I mean, he's really fast. He's so fast, he makes fast people look not fast. And I'm only talking about offense. He's also a force on defense, laying the wood and taking no prisoners.
Hey, Braden Belleville's the man out there. Jerry, we appreciate the good work tonight, my friend. Well, it's unfortunate for those Waterford fans that they had to take another L, as we just heard from Jerry. But now we head over to another historic rivalry in the TVC Hawking, the Southern Tornadoes and the Bahama White Falcons. And now we have TVC Hawking reporter Nick Mullins. He was there to catch the game, and he's going to give us some insight.
Joey P., historic it was. Southern was able to break its 40-year losing streak to Bahama 2 years ago, and last season, the Tornadoes routed Bahama 46-8 in tonight's game. Let's get there and see how things fared. The Tornadoes are looking to stay undefeated against the winless White Falcons team. Southern offense put up 41 in both their wins this season, and their offense didn't skip a beat. The Tornadoes' slow and steady approach couldn't be stopped. Between the three-headed monster of Dylan Smith, Logan Drummer, and Riley Rouse, they took it to Bahama's defense with quick passes and the ground game. Their first drive lasted 7 minutes with Ronnie Rouse punching it in to take the 7-0 lead. And on the ensuing kickoff, Southern onside kick, Bahama recovers and the ball 45. The White Falcons would go on the ground as well. With Colonel Arrington and Christian Thomas, Bahama would get on the board to tie this game up 7 apiece. The White Falcons offense couldn't back down, however. Their three-headed monster was just too much for Bahama. Dylan Smith and Logan Drummer would alternate between quarterback, running back, and wide out. They could do it all. Drummer was more of a passing QB. He was dropping dimes like that pretty pass to Brody Dunton and on 3rd and long, and he just doesn't have an arm. He can run as well. They would capitalize, taking a 14-7 lead with 9:19 left in the half, and Tornadoes defense was swarming to the ball in the first half with great defense and a balanced run game. They ran into the second half, put the 21-7 lead. Southern would take it into overtime with the win of 27-21.
Now, Nick, that final is a bit different from the story of the game going into halftime, right?
Yeah, Joey P. Southern seemed to be dominating both sides of the ball going into half, but when there are two halves, anything can happen, and it did.
Absolutely. Bahama came storming back to take it into overtime, and they had all the momentum. How come they weren't able to seal the comeback?
2 words, Riley Rouse. In overtime, he captured his 4th touchdown of the game. Despite being a part of a three-headed monster, Rouse captured every one of Southern's touchdowns and led them to victory. With the nail-biter win, Southern is now 3-0 and heads to Miller next week, looking to stay undefeated. Still searching for their first win, the White Falcons head to Belpre next week.
We'll see what they both have in store. Nick, thanks for the great work, my man. It's just another page of history in that storied rivalry. Now, I need you to do me a favor. Get out your phones, pull up the Facebook app, and search Gridiron Glory. From there, you can find us, the Gridiron Glory Facebook page. You're going to want to give our page a like. I promise you, everything we do gets posted on our Facebook page, so it's easy to share it with all your friends and family. From highlights, previews, feature stories, it's all right there on our Facebook page. So give us a like on Facebook. I promise you will not be disappointed. And next up, we have Edina traveling to Wellston to take on the Golden Rockets tonight. We sent our own dual thread of reporters, Nick Niehaus and Anthony Marino, to C.H. Jones Field to check out the action.
I overheard a couple of Wellston players. They created their own motto, Wellston by 90. And although the Rockets didn't put up 90 points tonight, it sure as well seemed like it.
Well, fellas, it sure looked like the offense was clicking for Wellston, but what did the defense do to hold Edina scoreless in the first half?
Joey P., Wellston completely shut down the Edina campaign, whether it was through the air or on the ground. It seemed like Edina could not pass the line. Right here we see Jordan Lucas looking to take care of business in Wellston's home opener tonight, but it would be Travis J. John on Wellston's first possession as he goes to the right side, breaks off a couple defenders, and is taken down the 30-yard line.
Yeah, they give it back to Travis J. John again on the left end this time. He almost gets a touchdown, but he is caught up by a defender. And speaking of those Edina defenders, Travis J. John is about to take 4 defenders into the end zone, yet he's called down at the 1-yard line, but they will get a touchdown, making it 7-0.
This is Edina's first chance to put something together and find the end zone. But whoa, wait, there's a fumble, and all those Wellston defenders get on that ball, giving them perfect field position to put that ball through that goal line. And right here we see Jordan Lucas rolling out to his left, finding Donnie Waters, and he is brought down at about Wellston's 35-yard line.
Yeah, it seems like Jordan Lucas has all the confidence he needs through the air, and we see it right here as he launches one to Michael Graham wide open for a 28-yard touchdown. And that, my friend, will take them in. Oh, excuse me, sorry about this. We have Edina. Their only chance to get in the end zone in the red zone so far, and that is J.D. Blevins getting swarmed with defenders, and that's the story of the first half right there. They just were not able to get it done in the red zone, and Edina failed to get a score in the first half as Wellston ended the first half, 34-0.
Now, guys, tell me about Edina's struggles on offense.
Well, Joey P., Wellston completely shut down the Edina game plan. Whether it was through the air or down or on the ground, it seemed like Edina just could not get past the line of scrimmage. And
Nick, it sure was a rude awakening for Sykes, but don't forget about Edina's veterans J.D. Blevins and Cam Nicholas. Normally, the stars for the Warriors could not get anything going offensively tonight to give them a spark. With such a great defensive effort from the Rockets, it only gave their offense more momentum to put points up on the board.
Now, fellas, it seems like Edina just didn't have it on really either side of the ball tonight. But what do you think the Warriors need to do to improve going into next week?
Well, Joey P, there sure is a lot that they need to improve on, but I think the ability to keep drives alive by converting on third down is what they need to work on the most to try to get things back on the winning side.
And Nick, one thing I noticed tonight, they were very run-heavy in the first half. Bouncing out their attack through the air could have kept that Wilson defense on their toes, maybe just a little bit, help them put that ball up the field and across that goal line.
Yeah, Joey P, as you know, it's hard to find positives in a 48-6 point loss, but Edina is going to have to pick themselves up if they want any chance of turning the season around.
Hey, we'll see if this loss fires up those Edina Warriors going into next week. As always, guys, we appreciate everything you did tonight. Now, keeping it in the TVC Ohio, we had TVC Ohio reporter Thomas Garvrick. He was out in Spartan country tonight to see the Alexander Spartans take on the Sciotaville East Tartans. Now, Tommy Boy, give us the lowdown on what you saw, man.
Joey P, Alexander is one of the youngest teams in the TVC Ohio, and tonight their youth and lack of experience showed as Sciotaville East jumped on the Spartans early in this one. After throwing a 64-yard touchdown, Brady Duthit was just getting started on the ensuing drive. He runs the ball down the sideline, bulldozes over a Spartan, picking up 23 yards. The Spartans had no answer for Duthit all night. 2 plays later, good old-fashioned power football. Ethan Carver powers it in from a yard out, flips the ball to the ref, putting the Tartans up 14-0 early in the first quarter. For the Spartans, Joey P, Caleb Beasley struggled to make any throws tonight, and the Tartans made him pay. He drops back to pass, but he's picked off by Mackie Kingery. He motors his way down the sideline deep into Spartan territory, and the Tartans could smell blood again. Duthit depended heavily on his Swiss Army knife and Kyle Flannery out of the backfield. Duthit finds Flannery and he makes a man miss and dives in for his first touchdown of the night. Down in a 20-0 hole, Beasley helps the Spartans get on the board. Running down the seam is a wide open Chase Seifert, putting the Spartans inside the 10. 2 plays later, Brad McAllister scores in from 4 yards out. He's fired up as the Spartans try to crawl back in this one. But Flannery would have none of that. He put a stamp on the first half as he takes a sweep, gets to the outside, and with a little help from Duthit, he scores from 28 yards out. The Tartans go on to roll in this one, 53-20.
Now, Thomas, last year, East won this game in a really close one. So, however, this year wasn't the case as we just saw. East stomped on them for 53 points. What went wrong for the Spartans?
Joey P, the Tartans, much like last year, exposed the Spartans' youth. Caleb Beasley struggled to find any rhythm tonight, and the Tartans put pressure on the young signal caller, and they victimized him for multiple turnovers on the night. Not only were Beasley in the passing attack lackluster, so was the running game. The Tartans controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Spartan running backs Brad McAllister and Ethan Howes were bottled up all night. The Tartans clogged up any holes and forced them into 3rd and longs all night. With a young team, Joey P, you can't afford to turn the ball over. Beasley's 2 interceptions in the first half set the Tartans up to get on the board early and often, and they certainly made the Spartans pay. The duo of Brady Duthit and Kyle Flannery were just too much for the Spartans to overcome. They combined for 4 of the team's first 5 first-half touchdowns. Every time I looked up Joey P, it felt like you saw those two crossing the pylon for 6 because the Spartans just simply had no answer for them. When you give up 53 points in a game, especially at home, you aren't giving yourself a shot to win games. The Spartans need to fix their woes on defense before they can turn the ship.
Absolutely, Thomas. The Spartans are still a young team trying to find ways to win, find their identity. Hopefully they can bounce back for their sake. Thanks for the good work, man. Appreciate it. Now over in Logan, the Chieftains, they're still searching for their first win of the year, and tonight they welcomed the Meigs Marauders to town. I'm now joined on desk with Clark Wicks. He was there for all the action in Logan tonight, so tell me how it went down.
Well, Joseph, I know you're used to hearing about players named Yates running all over TVC teams, and that's exactly what Logan running back Preston Yates did tonight. Now, although we got off to a slow start, the Logan running game could not be stopped tonight. Trevor Horner got the party started early in the second quarter with a 4-yard touchdown run, but the real star of the show was Preston Yates. Yates was dominant as he finished the night with 264 yards along with 2 touchdowns. The offensive line did a great job of blocking, and Yates didn't hesitate to take advantage. Now, it wasn't until the third quarter that Meigs was able to find the end zone on this 66-yard pass from sophomore and third-string quarterback Corey Cox to his man Weston Bear. Now, Joseph, this was just the third time the Marauders found the end zone, but the 2 previous touchdowns were called back after penalties. Now, although Meigs eventually put up 22 points, they could not get anything going on the ground, as 7 Marauder rushers combined for a measly total of 62 yards. I told you last week, Joey P, this Logan defensive line is the real deal. I think the key to the Chieftains' victory was shutting down the run and forcing Cox to throw the ball. Now, Cox is by no means a bad quarterback. The sophomore completed half of his passes and finished the night with 202 passing yards, along with 2 touchdowns. But he also threw 2 picks to a Logan secondary that's been suspect in the past. Now, a solid defensive effort combined with a monster night from Yates practically guaranteed this 26-22 victory for the Chieftains.
You know, that's the first W of the year for the Chieftains, and you know, they have Sheridan next week. Do you think Logan will be able to put together another game like this against one of the MVL's big dogs?
Well, I think the defense will continue to play like they have, which puts all the pressure on the offense. If Yates can run over defenses like he did tonight, the Generals should be worried.
Well, they might be worried. We'll see. I'm convinced, you know, we heard it here first. The defensive line there is the real deal. We appreciate your effort tonight, Clark. Now, Facebook earlier this week got to see Gridiron's extended coverage. Senior reporter Eric Threet's going to give us more now. We took a trip to Wheelersburg to better understand one of the most dominant teams in Southern Ohio, right?
You're talking about a trip. That trip was almost a whole 2 hours, but it was worth it. Whether you step on the Wheelersburg's field or walk into the locker room, you feel a winning tradition, and it doesn't take long for you to realize that the Berg is the word.
When you hear that bell, you've entered Ed Miller Stadium, a place where the Wheelersburg Pirates have won every game since October of 2014.
We practice hard and we perform great. So Coach Woodward he always makes sure that we have a great practice. The guys always come together. It's a great thing.
Teams within Gridiron Glory's coverage are familiar with the Pirates. Wheelersburg eliminated Zane Trace from the playoffs in 2015, Nelsonville York in 2016, and the Pirates have beat Jackson 4 of the past 5 seasons.
Personally, I want to beat them more than any team on our schedule because of the respect value of what they present, knowing that when you beat a team like that and a program like that, it means you're pretty good.
Not only is Coach Hall trying to beat a dominant team, but it was a team he was on. Hall graduated from Wheelersburg in 1989, a few months before he watched his dad help coach Wheelersburg to a state championship.
89 season was a miracle season. It really was.
A big reason for this dominance? Ed Miller, the man who the stadium was named after.
He really, pushed and catapulted everyone and just all of them believing together and believing in the impossible. And that's what it was, a Southern Ohio team, impossible that they could reach that kind of level. And they did just that. They went out and they played at the Ohio Stadium and they won a state championship in 1989.
Miller demanded toughness and excellence. His teams responded by winning 85% of games under his coaching tenure. He continues to inspire today's Pirates to reach higher.
Getting a player to reach his full potential is one thing, but then to reach past that, to me, that's the ultimate goal. To get them to say, you know what, I can do more than what I thought I could.
To bring a state championship title back to this town would mean everything. It would mean everything.
Maybe this is their year. When the clock hits 0 and your bell was rung, I guarantee you'll respect the W.
Wheelersburg continued to show their dominance, beating Heat tonight 41-0. You'll be able to see more of Wheelersburg as they play Jackson on September 22nd. Gridiron Glory will have all the coverage you need right here.
That's right, Eric. We appreciate you grinding outside of our coverage area to tell that story. That's good stuff, man. So now, let's say you want to watch Eric's Wheelersburg story one more time, or 10, or 100 times. Well, I know exactly where you can do just that. Just head on over to woub.org/gridiron, and boom, that's where it'll be. Not only do we post our stories from the show online, we post game recaps, previews, features, and a whole lot more. It's easy for you. woub.org/gridiron. You can check out all of your favorite stuff, and of course, don't be afraid to grab the link, post that on your social media, send it to your buddies. I'm sure they'd like to see it as well. Now, only one of our matchups this week featured two 2-0 teams, Chillicothe and Marion Franklin. They battled it out tonight for a chance at claiming a perfect first 3 weeks. And now the FAC's finest, Blake Baker, he's going to give us a rundown. Blake, was the high-scoring affair that we expected? Did that happen tonight?
Oh, it really was a high-scoring affair, and it really looked like a thriller from the very beginning. A powerful performance from both offenses lasted just one half, while one team literally ran away with it in the second. Now, legendary coach Ron Hinton, he's a legend in the state of Ohio, approaching 330 career wins, and he is fired up for this one, as are his Cavaliers. Pick it up in the middle of their second drive. Brandon Moffmer lofts this one into the hands of Connor Mathis. He came 23 yards out of the backfield for that reception, but he stays in the backfield a few plays later, takes a handoff, and rumbles 5 yards past that goal line, 7-0 Chillicothe. Now, Marion Franklin, on their second drive of the game, they need a response. And Malik, Malik McIntosh, says catch me if you can, but too bad nobody can. He bursts off the right corner, beats everybody to the corner in a 50-yard sprint to pay dirt, but they would miss that 2-point conversion, so it's 7-6. Now, if the fastest route from point A to point B is a straight line, and point A is where Jaquan Harris catches his football, you're about to see the fastest straight line to point B, the end zone. No one's getting a finger on this guy. 85-yard touchdown, big night from number 40, and it started with that score, puts his team ahead 14-6. Now, Kazion Harris in the Marion Franklin backfield also got the big playmaking ability, shows off a big arm and a little back shoulder action as Zaire Porter pulls that one in the red zone. Going forward on 4th down, Deontay Wade juggles this one in, an acrobatic catch. He finds a blue turf in another score, but they would miss that 2-point conversion as well, so it's 14-12. Moffmer showing off his big arm, a mid-double coverage, but Harris brings that one down and bails him out. He's fired up, and if he likes that one, he's going to love this one. He lets this one go, and nobody is within 10 yards of Zach Coates. He finds the end zone on that haul in. They would take a lead 21-18 into halftime, but a rally from Marion Franklin in that second half, and the Red Devils go on to win 40-26 in this one.
So, Blake, this was pretty close early on, but what did Chillicothe do early to attack an athletic Red Devil defense?
On their first touchdown drive, it was about dinking and dunking in the passing game. They were able to complement some quick hitters on the ground with methodical passing in order to drive down the field and get that first score. And as we expected, Marion Franklin defense keyed on Brandon Moffmer, and the quarterback did a lot to keep his team in it early. He had lots of opportunities in the run-pass option and did a pretty good job. He had 96 yards on the ground and 166 passing yards. But the star of that first half, I already mentioned him, Jaquan Harris. He had that kickoff return for a touchdown, the nice grab to extend a drive where he threw a touchdown on. That offensive spark for the Cavs looked okay early on. Those guys headlined it, but Marion Franklin exploded for some big plays to put the game away in the second half.
And you just mentioned some big plays. Tell us a little bit about those big plays.
Yeah, well, very much so. They impressed me. Those boys were what you would call some outside dogs, JP. Malik McIntosh had the sweet feet and a ludicrous stat line. 4 touchdowns, 227 yards, and 14 yards per carry. And the way he ran was really nothing special either. He pretty much burst to the outside and genuinely beat everybody to the corner, just ran by everybody. Zaire Porter pitched in 134 receiving yards on 3 catches. So for all you math fans out there, that's 44 yards per catch. Insane. Those two headlined a phenomenally talented offense. In 4 scores of over 40 yards, they put up 40 on a good Chillicothe defense. Now the Cavaliers cooled off in that second half, as we talked about, cooled off a lot. They cannot afford to carry that loss of momentum into a date with defending state champs Bishop Hartley next week.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate the grit that you showed for us tonight, Blake. Thanks a lot, man. Now moving over to the MVL, our MVL expert Scott McDonald has a story of adversity to tell.
Thanks, Joey Pete. Now, in football, injuries are a part of the game. The tears, strains, sprains, and breaks, they all come with the territory of putting on the pads. But what happens when a player experiences a condition where there isn't necessarily a blueprint for the recovery? John Glenn quarterback Justin Haycock suffered an ailment that kept him off the field for a year, but it was his perseverance that has led him to find success back in between those lines. Justin Haycock's throwing motion is quick and effortless, but his journey back onto the field was anything but. As a sophomore, he started all 10 games, but after the season, he received life-changing news.
Yeah, I had a sunken chest. It's where my chest was kind of going inwards, and I had a procedure called a nuss procedure to get it fixed. They put 2 metal bars across my chest to flatten it out.
The surgery was successful, but it is what came afterward that was the difficult part. A long rehabilitation was required, and being able to walk for more than a few steps at a time became a chore.
It was hard, but I knew the doctors were giving me a chance to make a comeback, and I was fortunate because some athletes don't get to make a comeback after an injury or medical problems. But yeah, that's what kept me positive.
Even with no roadmap to recovery, Justin was determined.
But he's the guy that got up at 5 in the morning every morning and came up to the school and got in the weight room and did the things that by step-by-step process. I mean, he didn't miss many mornings. At 5 a.m. we heard the alarm clock go off and he was up and doing the things he had to do.
His coach Matt Edwards knows there's no holding Justin back.
I'm more concerned about him than he is. You know, I ask him all the time, do you have your vest on? Do you have this on? You know, quit running the ball, quit doing this. And he's just a competitor. He understands his injury, he understands his limitations, but when that whistle blows, you know, he is the type of kid that you can win with because he just wants to compete and he can do whatever he can to help our team win.
And it is exactly Haycock's toughness and commitment that has the Little Muskies sneaking a potential MVL championship, a feat that they haven't completed in over 15 years.
He's definitely one tough guy, Scott. We appreciate you telling that uplifting story for us. And of course, Haycock was out on the field playing some ball tonight. John Glenn hosted the Sheridan Generals, and we had MVL reporter Nick Ursini there, who now joins us live from Zanesville.
Joey P., if you were going to tell me that the John Glenn Little Muskies were going to be the last unbeaten team in the NVL, I would have called you crazy. However, their first 2 victories were against non-conference foes, and tonight against Sheridan, they had the opportunity to prove that the Little Muskies are the real deal. Now, even 4 days after Labor Day, the Little Muskie fans still had to show their American pride. After John Glenn picked off Ethan Heller 4 plays into the game, the Generals defense said whatever you guys can do, we can do better, as Nick Rinaldi picks off Justin Haycock, giving the Generals the ball deep in Little Muskie's territory. 6 plays later, Jarrett Munyon caps off the drive with a 2-yard rush, 7-0 Sheridan. John Glenn had a promising drive going with the Haycock to Casey Smith 18-yard completion, but that drive would stall. Sheridan was pinned inside their 20, but a big 23-yard gain by Munyon gave Sheridan some breathing room. Next play, Ethan Tabor would take the sweep from Heller and go 32 yards up the right sideline, setting up Sheridan once again. Then 3 plays later, guess who? Munyon again. Pounds the ball into the end zone. PAT was up and good. 14-0 Sheridan early in the second quarter. On the ensuing possession, Haycock finds Smith on a screen pass, and he goes for 53 yards to the 15-yard line. After getting another chance for a touchdown after a 4th down penalty by Sheridan, Haycock rolls out to the right and finds Smith, who makes a great diving catch for 6. Sheridan took the lead into the locker room 14-6, but John Glenn came away with the victory 30-26.
John Glenn, they come away with the victory, but it didn't look good for them early on, especially at halftime. What adjustments do you think that they made that gave them a chance to win?
Joey P., whatever Coach Edwards said in the locker room, it worked. They came out with this different intensity and refused to lose attitude. John Glenn had way too many miscues early on, penalties on offense that took chances away, a missed field goal, and 2 short 4th down conversions that were unsuccessful. It really wasn't looking like John Glenn's game tonight.
You know, it looked like a pretty crazy last 15 minutes of the game. Summarize what you saw.
Joey P., what a treat it was. John Glenn drew even late in the 3rd quarter, but gave that lead right up. Sheridan would miss the PAT, though, which would leave the door open for John Glenn. They would score up 21-20, but they would give the lead right back. The Muskies turned the ball over on their next possession, but the defense came up with a big stop, giving their offense one final chance. Now, luckily, they had 2 4th down conversions that would set up Haycock to a Ben Larson touchdown in the end zone for the game winner. Joey P., this was a massive win for John Glenn tonight.
Yeah,
a win
like
this
a wild one, man.
Against Sheridan in front of their home crowd, you can't picture this even perfect. Now, this puts the entire MVL on alert that the Little Muskies are for real.
Hey, I think they might be for real. Get home safe tonight, my friend. Now, we've ran through all of our Week 3 coverage for you, so now it's on to the next one. Week 4 will be here before you know it, so here's what you can expect on our show. Next Friday night, leading us off a big showdown with Trimble and the defending Hawking champion Waterford Wildcats. Now moving over to the Ohio, we've got the Spartans of Alexander in the Plains against the Big Bad Bulldogs, and River Valley, they'll be at Boston Field against Nelsonville York. Now we have West Muskingum traveling to Morgan. The Red Streaks of Piketon will host Paint Valley, and rounding out our list, Westfall on the road at Zane Trace. That's all we got for tonight's show. We'll see you this time next week, and remember, there's nothing better than Gridiron Glory on Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.